What is the strongest shock you have experienced? What is the strongest cultural shock you have ever experienced? Last summer, I went to South Korea for a few weeks as part of a business training with my wife, and what surprised me the most was that nothing opened until 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was explained that Koreans really love nightlife, so shops and restaurants open later. It was a bit surreal when you talk about walking through shopping areas at noon and it's a ghost town. People in Korea are also very nice. My wife went to buy snacks and the woman behind the counter was just eating her lunch. She didn't speak English, but she just kept offering my wife a few slices of peach until she agreed. Their culture is very generous. Next story. My friends and I went to Bali and stayed in a villa. The villa had hard-working maids who started work at 6 a.m. and stayed practically all day, doing gardening, cleaning rooms, sweeping and mopping floors, whatever. One night I sat down and chatted with one of the maids. She was only 18 years old, who explained to me that she would work from 6 in the morning to 4 in the evening, then drive an hour to university to study accounting all night and return home at 2 in the morning. That was her everyday life. And more importantly, she was paid the equivalent of Australian dollars 19 a day, but she was so kind, content and happy with her work. I told her that I would get about Australian dollars 20 an hour, and that age plays a big role in wages. This puzzled her. She would like to move to Australia, but earning only $19 would just not work, but she was happy, a smile shone on her face. We gave them a generous tip before we left, and they burst into tears of joy, although it would have been about $30 for the three of them. Now, when I don't feel like studying, doing chores, or just doing something productive, I think of her and her smile. Next story. I came to America when I was 4 years old. We settled in a town called Diverstown, which wasn't that popular back then, but very diverse. When I turned 8, we moved to another city, about 30 minutes away. Now the city was on the list of potential murder capitals when we moved here. I went to a new school, and it was like a prison. I mean, the black kids lived in one area, the others in another. It was divided everywhere, and there were a series of invisible lines. If you crossed them, everyone noticed, and a fight started either then or during the day. Now, mind you, I'm 8 years old, Asian. Another girl who was Asian was also at the school, had no idea what I was doing, and was trying to meet people. One of the black kids came up and said, "You're Bill's grandson, right? You're okay, come with us." My stepfather was Bill, who married my grandmother. So for the next 5 years I grew up believing that Latinos hate Asians and that everyone needs to stay with their own, otherwise you have to work and prove yourself if you want to join another group. 5 years passed, a shooting happened in broad daylight in front of our house. My grandfather took me to the bathroom, put me in the tub, and told me not to get up for any reason. My grandparents and mother were fed up, and we moved back to Diverstown and I started my first year in high school. I'm shocked, everyone talks to each other, hangs out, I don't know anyone at all. I'm standing there ready to look for my people or a group to start with until one girl comes up to me, another Asian girl, and shows me the basics. At that moment I didn't know that people could communicate loudly. I was shocked. But now I'm okay. 14 years later, Crazy Town has developed quite a bit, although I haven't been there since. New schools, housing and development have gone through the city. It was the craziest shock I've ever experienced. Next story. People don't use napkins to hold food. I can't deal with it. This is also how I recognize people from my country. They always use napkins to hold a sandwich. Next story. When I was at Disneyland Orlando and I asked a guy for directions, he was incredibly polite, friendly, happy to help with a big smile on his face. Then he turned and walked away, and I saw that he was wearing a t-shirt that said, "In America we eat pork and drink beer, and if you don't like it, go back where you came from." Next story. Born and raised in Canada, moved to Texas when I was 17. Was shocked to see guns in Walmart. But perhaps the most shocking thing was how prevalent racism is. We learned about the Civil War in school and how awful slavery was. I wasn't ready for this at all. I'm still worried because my wife is African American and she has 2 mulatto children. Next story. Around the year 0, I left a predominantly white city and moved to a very multinational city. I worked on a construction site. Workers from the Middle East used portable toilets. They would stand on the toilet seat and drop paper, often creating a mess. After that, I never used portable toilets again. Another time we were working in a new building subdivision. The houses were just a pit in the ground, and concrete forms were poured for the foundation's basements, with gravel floors. Next story. The way American service personnel talk to you. It's by no means rude, it's not something like that. I noticed that they talk to you the way they would talk to a friend, whereas in the UK service personnel have a completely different way of communicating with friends and customers. Next story. I'm from Germany and was an exchange student in high school in Carolina. When I first visited the school, I saw a security guard. That already made me feel a little strange. Then I saw that he was armed with a firearm, and I felt very uncomfortable for the rest of my time at that school. And I tried to stay as far away from them as possible. Just like sometimes you automatically feel guilty about something when you walk past policemen on the street, I felt that my very existence could give reason to be shot. I was afraid of him both as a person who casually carries a gun at school and the reason why this could happen at all. I had never seen any security at school before, let alone them being armed and displaying it very openly. It was kind of a shock to me. Next story. I studied in the USA for 6 months. Everyone seems so passionate about what they like. It's like those memes about student athletes. Their whole life and energy goes into achieving one goal or lifestyle they want to achieve. Everyone I made friends with was like that. Whether it's American football, soccer, painting, anime, League of Legends, accounting, computers, law, and so on. They attended clubs and societies, always reading and watching something about it. Even the quiet ones made it clear how focused they were. But back home, in Australia, we are all much more relaxed. Half of the people I meet are just happy to pass by, getting a crappy internship or slowly moving up it. Or everyone is extremely modest and doesn't want to appear focused on what they are doing. Next story. Recently moved from a town of 2,000 people to a capital city of about 2 million. I live very close to the city center. All the locals told me that city life sucks, that it's hard to navigate, that people are jerks who are just waiting to cheat you. Honestly, it's freaking awesome. I never even dreamed of a world where I could walk 2 minutes from my campus and be in a mall, then walk 2 more and be in a completely different, but just as densely populated mall.